Hi everyone, it's Stephanie here with a video from My Favorite Things. In today's episode of MFTv, we are getting ready for New Year's Eve. We are getting our glitter on. We are making a fun, sparkly shaker card. And I'm using some really fun products together to create this shaker card. I am using the Champagne Dynamics. The Champagne Glass Die-namics is the focal point. I thought it would be super fun to turn this into a shaker card. And to add a little bit of even more interest to the card, I'm going to add some numbers into the shaker, and I'm also going to add some die cuts from the Time for the Bubbly stamp set and coordinating dynamics. So to start off, I have a piece of the gold glitter cardstock because who does not love glittery anything on New Year's? So I definitely wanted to add as much glitter and sparkle as I could to this card. And then I decided to kind of make it gold and black and white was my original idea, but I end up changing that to insulation pink in a little bit. So you'll see when I do change that. But first off, I went ahead and cut out one of the champagne glasses from white cardstock, and then I also cut out the center area from the gold. And then I kind of figured out how I wanted to position the shaker part of the card, and then I ran that same Champagne Dynamics die through my die cut machine on a white cardstock panel. And now what I'm going to do is trim the top area off of the glass. So I just want the stem of the glass, and we're going to adhere that back into the opening. But like I said, right now you see everything in white, and this is going to change in a few minutes because I decided that I don't like the white with the white, and I like a little bit more contrast, so I decided to change it up to pink. But before we get to that point, I do the acetate part here. So I just have a piece of acetate, and I'm just cutting it down so that it's going to fit behind the champagne glass. And it's quite larger than I need for the actual shaker area. But I decided to make it as big as the champagne glass so that I had an area to adhere the stem to. Since it is just an open area, this will allow the stem to adhere directly onto the acetate and still allow me to create the shaker in the top area. And I also made sure to cut the acetate large enough so that I could get my tape runner around the edges so that I could adhere it to the back of the cardstock panel. So now that I have that adhered, you can see that I have two new glasses here. I've cut them out with insulation pink, and I just love this so much better. I just think they stand out enough that it's just not white on white, but they're still not super overpowering, and they let that gold sparkle cardstock really take center stage. So I trimmed off this little stem here, and I put some adhesive on it, and I just adhered it back into the opening. So now I have the champagne glass with the acetate covering the front of it so that we're able to create a shaker when we get to that point. And I'm just going to take the gold glitter cardstock piece and adhere it to the second champagne glass so that we are ready to adhere this one to the card. Now I originally cut out two of those center pieces. I was going to put that other one in behind the shaker card, and to be honest with you, I just forgot to do it, and so then I decided to not worry about it. And in the end, I think it worked out okay because I put so much into the shaker card that I don't think you'd really see it anyway. So it worked out fine that I completely forgot to put it in. So now that I have the other champagne done, we're ready to go. I'm going to put all the foam adhesive onto the back so we can make a shaker. So I went ahead and covered the whole back panel, and I also made sure to put foam tape directly around the top part of the champagne glass. Since we want all the sequins to stay in that area, we want to close that off into its own little spot. And then I am first putting in some numbers that I die cut using the bottle caps dynamics, and what I'm doing is making sure that they're all the right way. I don't want to kind of just throw them in because I don't want them to be upside down. So I laid them all in carefully so that they're all the right direction. And then I also have some little wine glasses that I cut out from the Time for the Bubbly dynamics. I was going to do some stamping and die cutting, but I decided to just die cut the little wine glasses from some of the same insulation pink that I did for the large ones. And then I put those into the opening as well, making sure to lay them down the proper way. And then to finish it off, I'm filling the whole space with sequins. So I put a bunch of the MFT sparkle mix, which is pinks and blacks, and then some clear. And then I also added some gold sequins as well. And then once I have all of those in there, I very carefully remove the foam adhesive backing so that I don't kind of shake those sequins out of the opening there. And then I put the cardstock panel on the back. And when I flip it over, I am left with this super, super fun shaker. I absolutely love this. The idea in my head worked out perfectly. Sometimes you get an idea and it doesn't quite do what you think it's going to, but this was one of those times where exactly what I envisioned in my head is what happened, and I love it. I love the numbers in there. I love the little wine glasses. I love that the shaker is in the champagne glass. I just think it's so fun. So I finished that. I figured out where the second champagne glass is going to go, and now I need to create my sentiment for my card. So I'm using the same Time for the Bubbly stamp set. And I'm just using one of the sentiments from that, and I'm stamping it onto a strip of black cardstock. and then I'm going to heat emboss it with white embossing powder. So the sentiment I used is "It's time for the bubbly," and I just thought that went perfectly with the champagne glasses. And I want this to be a New Year's card, so this kind of leaves it open. It doesn't specifically say Happy New Year's, but it says it's time for the bubbly, which I think matches really well and just kind of goes with the theme that we're going with here. So before I adhered all the finished pieces to the front of the card, I did want to get the panel onto the card base. So I adhered it to a black top folding card base. And now I'm going to go ahead and get adhesive on all of the pieces here and get everything put together. So I trimmed down the sentiment strip. I kind of put a half banner on the right end there. And then I put the adhesive on, and I'm just kind of positioning it where I want it. I'm using the second champagne glass to make sure everything is how I want it. And then I'm going to adhere this down and trim the excess off of the side. And then I'm going to put adhesive onto that glass there and then adhere that on as well. I was originally going to put this champagne glass on foam adhesive, but I decided with the shaker and everything, I had quite a bit already going on, and I didn't really want any more dimension because we have so much foam tape under the shaker card part. So I decided to just adhere this directly on. And then I added a few more sequins to the top area and then the middle and bottom area just to kind of add to that sequin theme. And then that is going to finish this fun New Year's Eve card and bring us to this week's giveaway. So if you would like a chance to win the Champagne Glass Die-namics that I used in this video along with the Time for the Bubbly stamp set, please leave a comment on this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we will pick a random winner and I will announce it in next week's episode of MFTv. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.